Have you heard the term conspirituality? If you are a follower of mine, you probably have. If you haven't, or if you just want a review, here's a brief rundown. The term itself is a portmanteau, a mashup between the words conspiracism or conspiracy and spirituality. It's been around for a couple of decades, but it was sort of snatched out of the ether and legitimized in a 2011 paper by Charlotte Ward and David Voaz entitled The Rise of Conspirituality. In their paper, Ward and Voaz talk about two main components of conspirituality, the first coming from the world of conspiracism, the second coming from the New Age. And these are, number one, a secret group covertly controls or is trying to control the political and social order. And number two, humanity is undergoing a paradigm shift in consciousness. Proponents believe that the best strategy for dealing with the threat of a totalitarian New World Order is to act in accordance with an awakened new paradigm worldview. So on one hand, you have the paranoia of the evil cabal is taking over. On the other hand, you have the optimism of the awakening is upon us. Now, the main ingredients of conspirituality were present in the countercultural stew of the 1960s and 70s, and they sort of congealed during the 80s and then came to a boil, as it were, in the 1990s, thanks mostly to the help of authors like David Icke. Icke is a former soccer player and sports broadcaster who once proclaimed that he was the son of the Godhead before going on to write a bunch of books that involve conspiracy theory about extraterrestrial takeover of Earth. According to Icke, these ETs are of reptilian origin. They came to Earth to combine their DNA with that of humans to create a hybrid species of reptilian shapeshifters that comprise what he calls the Babylonian Brotherhood. He also calls them the Illuminati, or simply the global elite. Icke's proposed solution to this totalitarian fascist New World Order is simply love, which seems to contrast with the deep anti-Semitism and white supremacy that runs throughout all of his books. Another early conspiritualist is David Greer, who in 1993 founded the Disclosure Project, and since then he's been running around the internet talking about how the government is concealing information about ETs and UFOs. In their paper, Ward and Voaz also cite the influence of author John Perkins, who wrote Confessions of an Economic Hitman and also claims to be a shaman, and the wildly popular documentary series Zeitgeist. But conspirituality really exploded during the pandemic, during which time many wellness influencers fell under the spell of QAnon and other conspiracy theories. And in 2020, we saw the launch of a podcast, a very popular one called Conspirituality, the hosts of which have since written a book called Conspirituality that I highly recommend. Plot twist, during their research, the Conspirituality team discovered that one of the original authors of the Conspirituality paper, Charlotte Ward, is a hardcore conspiritualist. Under the pseudonym Jackie Farmer, she wrote a book called Illuminati Party, and she was instrumental in the propagation of a conspiracy theory called the Hampstead Hoax, which was the precursor to Pizzagate, which was the precursor to QAnon. And I'll get into that in future videos. Stay tuned.